part of patriarchy to enslave and oppress women, to be subservient and just serve men. That's part of that. There is a difference between being a slave to men in patriarchy, being oppressed in that way, and setting boundaries. You're going to treat me like shit. You don't deserve my time, my energy, my attention, period, fucking end. Bye-bye. Women need to learn how to set the appropriate boundaries. And decentering men, what does that really mean? Well, if you're going to be abusive, peace out. Cut the fucking ties. If you're going to be a narcissist, peace out. Goodbye. If you're going to objectify, goodbye. Done. It's ended. There's no, I'm going to still care for you. You don't deserve my fucking time and attention. So bye. Those are the boundaries that need to happen, that we're seeing happen in the world, which is why there's a male loneliness epidemic. No, there isn't. You don't have slaves anymore because women are waking up. The matriarch that is created in women-led communities, they are communities of oneness. They look out for everyone. But you know what they also do? Fucking handle business. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Masters of Self University podcast. I'm your host, Ellie Lee.
And I'm your host, Danny Morley. And today, Ellie and I are joined by none other than our CEO and founder of MSU, Rachel Fiori.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, today we are going to be talking about the power of woman. The power of woman. This is a new group that we are going to be starting here at MSU. And I want to start just by talking about a video actually that Rachel sent to Ellie and I. And as soon as I heard it, it makes me realize this is exactly why MSU exists. And this is exactly why and also this is going to be released episode 400. So this is kind of a monumental moment, obviously, for all the podcast listeners and us putting out this podcast. Episode 400. Can we get let's go.
400 episodes.
Yeah, so
crazy.
We thought we'd kind of celebrate that with the announcement of releasing both this amazing women's group, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the men's group that we're also going to be doing, but this is primarily going to be focused on the women's group today. But that doesn't mean for any men listening to turn this off or plug up your ears, because the feminine energy is within all of us, right? And we're going to be getting into that. But this video that was sent out, it began with, and it was MJ Gray. If you want to go look her up on TikTok, I want to reference her because this was coming out of her mouth. I'm not sure where she was actually reading this from, but the statement said, "Men are not enraged by this," and they're talking about the Epstein files, "because they identify more with the accused than the accuser." And as soon as I heard that, I was like, yes, 100%. As a man, when I'm listening to the horrors that are being brought out in the world, my initial reaction is feeling some level of guilt or shame or wrongness because of I have energetically contributed towards that. And if we're unconscious, then we're going to probably hide those parts of us away. We're not going to look at them. We're not going to allow ourselves to see the truth of the horrors that are happening in the world right now. And the same thing, we can talk about Epstein files, we can talk about ICE. It's the same thing in that we as men are the oppressors. We are the ones that for the last, let's say, 10,000 years have been the one in this controlling, dominating, superior position. And it has created all of this harm, this oppression of the feminine, which is represented by obviously women in our society. And this is why at this moment right now, it is so important for us to actually start the process of healing what has been done to women. Hence the group that Rachel, you have started, but we as an organization are putting out now, to help heal all of the oppression, all of the victimization, everything that has come up because unconscious men have been dominating this planet.
Yeah, and a huge reason too. I remember, Rachel, you and I were talking because in the Discord we're seeing so many of our female students moving through so many different kinds of experiences around men, whether it's their husbands, their partners, their boyfriends, whatever it is, the lack of safety they feel, the narcissism they're dealing with, there's abuse on all kinds of levels. And as women are waking up and they're doing the work on themselves, I mean, they're also waking up to the truth, which is like, oh my goodness, I'm dating an unconscious man that has abused me on every kind of level, that manipulates me. And I was just guiding a student right now into her husband just being a complete narcissist and dehumanizing her constantly. And so the reason why I know that you were like, we need to create this group is because women do need this now. They need this more than ever. And there is no place out there where women can actually go and learn, and then learn how to start doing the work in themselves so they can truly elevate and heal from everything that they've experienced. I mean, the entire existence of being a woman in the old earth.
Absolutely, including the deepest levels of brainwashing, which includes internal misogyny and being misogynistic towards oneself, and learning what that means and what that looks like and how that expresses itself in order to subjugate myself as a woman, that I contribute to playing those roles, and not realizing what it is that I'm doing as a woman in order to uphold a patriarchal system. And patriarchal system is a system of domination, abuse, and violence. That's what patriarchy is. So it's learning and dissecting all of that, on a macro, grander scale, to understand how the system functions, and then breaking it down step by step into how we have been conditioned. And this is a women's group, so for obviously this conversation and this group, it's specific to women, to learn how we as women are functioning in this system, how we contribute to it. And that doesn't mean we're taking responsibility in the sense like it's our fault. It's just, how have we been conditioned to be submissive and passive in this system and help uphold the system? We have to see the truth in that, and we have to heal all of the trauma that women experience from global oppression. And that is the main reason for this group, and why we're rolling it out now is because women weren't ready before. Women, my observations and just witnessing women in the collective, as much as women have desperately needed this, I don't feel, as a whole collective, doesn't mean there aren't, exceptions to that, of course, but as a collective, I don't think women were ready for this before, because they were still brainwashed by patriarchy, thinking that independence and being a woman and, being sovereign means I just go out and sexually objectify myself, and I go do all these things that patriarchy wants you to play these certain roles as a woman. And you're still brainwashed by patriarchy by playing certain roles as a woman. It wasn't freedom. It wasn't independence. And I think women had to go do all of these things for the last decade or so and realize they're still wounded and unhealed and miserable and still depressed and still struggling and still have trauma. And I really believe that the Epstein files being rolled out the way that they're being released, I think that's activating rage, and I think it's activating the trauma in women, and I think it's activating the enough is enough. I am so fucking done with this disgusting fucking patriarchal abusive world. I have had enough, which means we as women need to come together, heal ourselves, elevate out of it, and connect to our power, because it's the feminine power that's going to change a system as sick as this one.
Yeah, just in our student enrollment meeting this week, which for anyone listening, if you're interested in enrolling, please join one of our free enrollment meetings. Ellie and I lead them, and you can learn what it means to become a student. But one of the one of the participants in there, she shared, like, I love how you, meaning Ellie and I, have been addressing the horrors, the Epstein, all this stuff, like the Epstein files and what's really going on. And you could tell that she was like really like pleased that there were people that were actually speaking up about this stuff. And you can tell that, like, I mean, you look out, and I, on a daily basis, I'm really shocked that we're just really not seeing people on these major platforms, or even when I'm in outside of my MSU kind of community, no one's talking about this kind of stuff. And it's crazy. Everybody has learned to look away from the truth about what's really happening, put these blinders on, live in these really like complete false and fabricated what they deem as comfortable, safe bubbles. And when it's really interesting to feel when I start to bring these up with certain people, just how much it's kind of like they don't have the power to just look and talk about what's actually happening. And then, you know, generally, I've also seen a lot of videos on social media where sometimes these things are brought up, maybe to these like slightly larger platforms, and then you come back to the internal misogyny, right? Because who these people are coming to for guidance and direction still run these internal misogynistic programs. It's then the answers that they're giving, it completely dishonors the victim that's right in front of them.
Yep.
What's been okay, when I see, because I used to follow a lot of them, these spiritual influencer women, right, where their content revolves around quote unquote the divine feminine, which, you know, I've learned to understand that nobody understands what the fuck that is, right? The only reason I started to understand was because I started being taught by you by what it truly is. So they make all this content for years and years about the power of woman, divine feminine, and sacred feminine, and all of these things. And then the moment anything shit hits the fan, across the board, I've been following them because I'm just observing, not a word. And it's all about, well, let's just not go into any of that, because that doesn't feel good for any of us. So and what they teach, quote unquote, teach a lot is, well, it messes with your manifestations, and you shouldn't give energy to those things because that means you're giving energy to all the negativity. And what they're telling all their followers is just that don't give anything to that. Focus on what you want to focus on the good. And people are waking up to that now. So I had a girl comment on my Instagram yesterday, and she said, I am so sickened by the spiritual community that I have been a part of for so long, because none of them acknowledge the evil that's going on. None of them are acknowledging what is happening to these people, these children, women, every single day. And what they're actually telling me is to stop actually putting my attention to any of that and just focus on becoming what New Earth is. And it's like, wait a minute. You don't become New Earth by bypassing and being blind to everything. But that's what they're teaching all of these people in these quote unquote spiritual communities.
Exactly. And here's where there's a mass confusion and extreme distortion. It's like, think about, I'm going to give some extreme weird example, because this is how I teach. And I teach this way because sometimes it takes for this shit to sink in, so that we stop avoiding and doing that toxic positivity bullshit, avoiding, ignoring, burying our heads in the sand. If you meet, let's say you're a woman and you meet a man, you go on a date, and you find out he is a serial killer, he rapes children, and, you know, if you keep dating him, he's either going to do that to you, or he's going to make sure he impregnates you so that he could rape the children that you have together. And he's still going to go out and do blah, 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 blah. Let's just go. This is a horror movie. So let's go there. We've all seen this kind of crap on TV. So don't act like you can't listen to it right now, to all the listeners. And this stuff exists anyway in real life. So let's fucking face it for once. Okay. You have a choice. You can face the truth. You can take action. You can make sure somebody like that doesn't exist, meaning justice is served. You can make sure they're, you know, put away, whatever, right? Or you can be like, oh, well, that's too extreme for me. I'll just go date a different man. What? It really is that what we are going to choose here? just, oh, well, he's a rapist and a serial killer, and so I just won't date him. I'm going to let him walk free to go kill and murder and torture and rape as many women and children as he wants to. I'm just going to go date a different one. Let me go find a different man. That's what we're doing. Like, that's what the pseudo-spiritual bullshit communities and these false idiots who want to feel out of their spiritual ego like they're more elevated than they are, that they have been teaching this to people for years upon years upon years, and a lot of people have fucking fallen for it, that you just ignore the truth, ignore what is really going on. That's not the way of truth. 20 universal ways of oneness to elevate to a being of oneness consciousness. When you ignore and pretend like the truth doesn't exist, you're an unconscious, brainwashed idiot. You are not an elevated being who's focused on their manifestations. And how arrogant, entitled, and narcissistic are we that we're going to say you're being tortured and murdered and mutilated? I'm just going to focus on how much money I can make this month because I would like this manifested reality instead of the one you're living in. Are we this fucking narcissistic? Oh, wait, that's right. We are. You know why? Because of patriarchy. Because that's the system that brainwashes us to be that fucking selfish, that we don't give a shit about other people who are being mutilated and tortured. We're all oppressed and enslaved to varying degrees. And nobody cares because you just want to, well, but I need to manifest what I want to manifest because I want a nicer car. This is how superficial we are. It's insane. It is insane that this is how we function. So let me say this, that along these same lines, here's the distortion and the misconception. That if you focus on something and pour all your energy into it, is that going to amplify that thing? Okay, yes, there is a degree of truth in that. It is also true, if you fucking ignore it, it'll never go away. It lives forever. Nothing changes until you face the fucking truth of it. You have to see it. That's quantum physics, for Christ's sake. Observe, become the observer of it. When you see what is happening, you can then change what's happening. That is the difference. It isn't drowning in it and doing nothing about it. It's not ignoring it, which is doing nothing about it. Both of those are doing nothing about it, and it's two sides of the same damn coin. Instead, we rise as beings of oneness. We see what is actually happening. We face the real truth of it, and we take action to change it. That's divinely powerful. Don't you want someone like that to have your back versus someone who's like, oh, you're being abused and raped and tortured. I'm just going to go over here because that doesn't fit my manifestation goals. What are we doing?
Yeah, and one of the issues that I've also seen is I'm having these conversations, and I'm outside of MSU with, just friends and acquaintances, and maybe they're asking for like relationship advice or different things along those manners. They're having trouble in their partnerships, and my answer is always, yeah, well, you need to heal. Like you actually need to heal that part of you. The part of you that really wants the man, you need to heal that part of you. The part of you that really, and I say these things and I'll get responses like, yeah, well, I've healed that bit. Yeah, well, I've done that. And I obviously can feel that they haven't, because they wouldn't be, and this is why, well, if you had done that, you wouldn't be asking me this question. So, but I can tell that because of the patriarchy, and because we're so disconnected from feminine energy, people don't actually know what it means to heal something.
No clue.
Like when I'm having these conversations, and I remember when I first heard you on a podcast, I really wanted to help people. I really wanted to become a coach, but I also knew that I was really unhealed and really messed up. And one of the things that I'll never forget, I was like, this is exactly what I need. When I first heard you, Rachel, on a podcast, you were saying, yeah, I'll teach you how to become a coach and I'll teach you the skill and all that, but I'll also teach you how to heal yourself. And that was like, to me, it was like light bulbs, like ding, ding, ding. Yeah, I want to learn how to do that. But when I'm having these conversations with a lot of people, I found I'll say like, yeah, you need to learn how to heal yourself. And that it either goes in one ear out the other, or it just goes over something where they kind of completely dismiss the fact that they don't actually know what transformational healing is. And obviously the patriarchy has done this by design to squash out our connection to the divine feminine, oneness, power, our ability to actually transform. And then it has us obviously trapped in our minds, just thinking that we know what we're doing. But the truth is that I'm not going to say nobody, but the majority of the conversations that I have with people outside of MSU, they do not understand what transformational healing is, how to do it. And this is why it's so important for women, especially, to come to this group so they can actually learn what that means.
Yeah, because here's the thing. And this is all done by design. This is literally to manipulate and trick people to never heal and never elevate their level of consciousness. This is all part of what patriarchy is and what they do. It's, oh, I've addressed that. I've talked about that. Oh, I've gone to therapy about that. Oh, I've been in a women's group about that. Oh, that doesn't mean healing. That right there is where people are trapped. First of all, is they think because they've looked at it or they've addressed it or they've talked about it with their friends or they've been in groups or they've done coaching or they've gone to talk therapy, that somehow because they've done those things, that means they've healed those things. Nobody has, and this is a generalization. I don't mean literally not one person, but in the collective, when it comes to this topic and what healing actually is, it is almost non-existent to what healing actually is. It's addressing it. It's when you don't understand the deepest levels of energetics and how creation itself flows through us and how it co-creates the original creator with you as a localized manifestation of the creator of all. When you don't understand things at those levels, of course, everybody loves to think that they do. They don't. You can see it when they come to classes at MSU. That is never a judgment or a put down. Ever. It's just the truth. It's why we teach these things in these classes, because it's real education. When you have no idea quantum entanglement and how things, the creator in forms of particles and waves, frequency, vibration, how they work together to express through you, to co-create with you. When you don't know things at this level, nobody can say, oh yeah, I've healed. Because when you read energy and you see the frequency in note, it's right there. It's right there. Right now, it's vibrating at this blah, blah, blah frequency. Right now, it is dormant and it's in your blind spot. Right now, here's where it gets triggered only so that you know it exists. That's not healed. And we don't have the ability to discuss things at that level in our everyday because we've been dumbed down too much. And then pseudo-spiritualism has been integrated into societies all over the world so that they think they're healing. It feeds their spiritual ego, and they're not actually transforming and changing energy at the level of particle, wave, frequency, and knowing the difference between what those things are. So that when you vibrate, you activate a frequency inside of you. Oh, this one is flowing through me right now. What does that mean? Oh, that's actually a wound. I need to get rid of that. No wonder. And then we see how that creates what I think I want or what I think I need, and how all of those are interconnected. We are multidimensional beings. So if we don't learn at this level, we're not educated for real. And then we like to say that we're healed because we've talked about something with friends or in a women's group or in a men's group or whatever. That's not healing. We've learned to use spiritual language and we have spiritual knowledge, and that means I'm healed. No. Admitting or owning or talking about my abuse or my trauma or my horrific thing means I'm healed. No, it doesn't mean you're healed. It means you're talking about it and you're willing to admit it and share it with people, which is wonderful, beautiful. That doesn't mean you're healed. We don't even know what it means to be healed. And yet we love to claim we're healed. But again, that's part of the psyops that they lay out. And it's part of the brainwashing in order for people to never fucking heal for real. We got to get out of our spiritual egos, become the way of humility, and just start with, I probably know fucking nothing. That's a great place to start because it means you're open to receive the wisdom of everything, which includes transformational healing authentically.
Yes. And when we go back to pseudo spiritualism, right? And this is something that I've been seeing so many videos on Tony Robbins, quote unquote, guiding women, women who have been raped, a 13-year-old girl who has tried to commit suicide. And the way that he approaches these women actually caused them more trauma. And how many years have we been listening to these men trying to teach us anything about anything? It enrages me even more when they try to guide, heal a woman, because how can you?
In a patriarchal society, when we're this low at our level of consciousness, like, listen, with all due respect, and I mean this in a very loving, authentic way, that this isn't to simply offend. That's not what I do. And if you're offended by what I say, grow the fuck up, because I don't come from, I'm just going to offend because I want to offend. Like, grow up and get out of here. But, and I do mean this with all due respect. Women, number one, stop fucking listening to men, because that's part of the misogyny, that you only look to men. And what the fuck do they know? Look at our world. It's time to flip the goddamn script. And I say that with all due respect. I really, truly mean that with all due respect, because men are not they're behind the 8 ball. They're so fucking far behind because of the system of patriarchy. Do you understand? It's not a put down to men. It's literally done on purpose, but it is also the truth. They are so far behind. And yet women who are waking up for real, and especially now with Epstein files and the truth about the global cannibalistic sex cult, where they enslave and use women as incubators so that they can they can rape them, force them to give birth so that they can torture and rape and eat the babies that they give birth. Like, this is our world, and it is a patriarchal world. So women, let me be very blunt with you. Stop fucking listening to men. It's time. Don't you think it's time to wake the fuck up for real and put an end to always listening to, oh, must be true because it's a man. Oh, he's a billionaire, so that must mean he knows something about divine feminine. How the fuck could any man know anything authentically about divine feminine when we live in a patriarchal world? Do you understand that's part of the brainwashing? And I know this is really hard to comprehend for most people. That isn't putting men down. That's the goddamn system and what the system does to men. So if you're pissed off, you should be angry at fucking patriarchy, not at me. I'm the messenger telling you the goddamn truth to wake you up for real, because only then can we begin to heal for real, right? So women need to knock it off. Men need to gain some humility and realize it's time to listen to women. It's time to listen to the wisdom of women who actually know and are very elevated, because we are here to lead a new way and to forge a new way forward at every level that exists on this planet. Otherwise, we are not living on a new earth. Give your bullshit what you can manifest. You can manifest $1 million tomorrow. What does that have to do with being an elevated level of consciousness? The wealthiest people in the world, billionaires, eat children for fun. So you think you're elevated because you have money, and you want to keep looking to men and think that they know what they're doing because they're billionaires or multimillionaires. Like, this is the level of stupidity we still function at. That's what you define as a good leader because they have a car or a house that you covet. Like, what are we doing? All of that has got to go, because it means nothing. It doesn't matter if somebody has financial success or not. What matters is, do they actually function at a high level of consciousness? Do they actually talk about the horrors of the world, but actually know how to heal it? Not just spew about it. That's what we need to look for with people that we want to learn how to heal from, or we want to look to real authentic leaders that you do take action, you know how to heal for real, and you know how to teach other people how to do the same. What's that got to do with your goddamn bank account? It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter then if you are also a multimillionaire and you can do that. It doesn't matter if you're just surviving like everybody else and can do that. Do you understand? The dollar amount is not about whether you're highly conscious or not. And especially, it doesn't matter anymore. We have to stop putting men on pedestals that don't fucking deserve to be there. Because here's the real truth. The men who are doing the real work, who are elevating, who are raising their level of consciousness, they're the ones not being listened to. They're not being heard, the ones that are doing the real authentic work. Only the ones who are fake, who know how to do some clickbait to get some goddamn followers. You know why? Because they spew out bullshit about divine feminine. And we're stupid enough to buy it because they're men. Like, this whole superficiality, surface level crap needs to go. And this is part of, how do you see it for real? How do you know who to listen to, and if you're running your own programs or not? That's part of what we teach in the Power of Woman, in the women's group. When you heal for real and you learn how to read frequency, you can learn to feel, because that's divine feminine. You learn to feel the frequencies of another person. And when you start to learn how to exist at that level, which is what the Power of Woman is, then you learn to function very differently and connect very differently with people. It starts to alleviate this, oh no, who do I listen to and why? Get out of your minds. Feel the energy that is in front of you. When you learn how to exist at that level, you're starting to raise your level of consciousness here. That's part of what we teach at Masters of Self University in our coursework. And that's also what we will be teaching in our women's group, the Power of Woman.
Yeah. And the fact that, generally speaking, we as men can't even feel our own emotions. It's like, how, if I'm man and I don't know how to just feel my own emotions, how am I ever going to be able to feel the energy of somebody in front of me? How can I feel if this person is speaking truth, or if this person, and obviously this is the whole psyop, this is the whole, thing that they're doing, is when they disconnect us, whether they're man or woman, anybody, when you are disconnected from your emotional body, then that's your interface as a human.
Yes.
Into this reality to be able to feel and as you said, like, read energy.
Yeah.
So how are you going to be able to know who to trust as a leader if me as a man, if I can't even feel the basics of what I'm feeling? If all I've learned to do is shut that off, and this is obviously, boys, don't cry, don't be like a girl, obviously all the conditioning that we receive as young boys, to then disconnect from our emotional body, that emotions are seen as weak and bad and blah, 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 blah. We all know what the patriarchy is, right? Probably, if you're listening to this podcast. And then, like, how are you ever going to be able to listen to somebody and feel that this being is speaking truth if I can't even feel the shame that's created when I kill something or do something unloving?
Yes.
And this is obviously what's done by design. And Ellie and I just went and watched a movie last night, where in the movie there was a man and a woman kind of stranded on a desert island, and the man is like a typical, like, he was a CEO of a company, objectification, like product of patriarchy, like down to a T. You can tell the whole film was like he was treating this woman like absolute shit, because she wasn't, all dolled up, and she was maybe what you would class as more like a normal person. And so he just saw her as inferior. He dismissed her. He gives them promotions to, his frat brothers, his buddies, and all this. And then when they're on this island, like, he is just this massive piece of shit. And the woman that's on the island is taking care of him. And, like, even though she has been treated like shit by this guy in what is like the real world, or, that old reality, she's totally fine to step into the role of, like, oh my God, there is a human in front of me that needs my help. No matter how horrible he was to me in this other life that was, existing just a few days ago, I'm going to put all of that aside. And in Oneness, I'm going to show up and help the person that's in need. And that's the power of woman. That's what a woman does. They're here to they're so willing to take care of what needs to be taken care of, to not create harm, to, a man in the other role, and this is shown in the film, we are so fine with just allowing, you know, abuse to happen, allowing atrocities to happen, allowing harm to be created, allow trauma, because we don't care. And obviously a lot of that is conditioned and programmed into us, and we're just more susceptible to be that way. But the power of woman is that, like, this is what we should be looking to the women to learn how to be a human being, not the other way in any capacity.
And also it's part of that brainwashing that no matter how a man treats you, you should always take care of him. I mean, that's the misogyny in the movie that you just described. That is literally brainwashing and teaching women that no matter how horrifically a man treats you, you should still serve him and help him. This is like, it's like feeding the incel fucking society that's out there. Like, we should make women more accessible to them. I'm sorry, what the fuck? You mean objects that you want to call women? They're objects. Deliver them to the incels. How many podcasts have talked about stuff like this? Like, there's a problem with incel. Grow the fuck up and heal yourselves and take care of yourself. Learn to be a mature adult and stop brainwashing and offering the level of misogyny that a woman is supposed to take care of you, even when you're a fucking asshole and you're abusive to her. That needs to end. That's the part, that's brainwashing in that movie. Now, here's where people don't understand. The level of care that a woman has is a natural tendency to function in oneness, and that means matriarchal society, because in a matriarchal society we all take care of each other, period, end. We all nurture each other, we look out for one another. That's the natural tendency. The problem is, in a patriarchal society, that's exploited, and then women are viewed, well, you're going to be nurturing no matter what I do to you. So I can abuse you and I can treat you like shit and I can dismiss you and I can ignore you. I can dehumanize you. I can treat you as less than. Dehumanization. I treat you as an object. You're my slave. You're my whatever. You're my fuck stick. You're my blah, blah, blah. And then when I need you, you're to step up and care for me. It's what's the statistic? Somebody can write it in the comments because I forget it off the top of my head. It's either 6 times or 9 times more likely that men divorce their wives when their wife has, a major incident like a stroke or a health problem or something, cancer, that they're like, I have to be a nurturer. I can't be the center of the universe now with you waiting on me hand and foot. Divorce. Whereas women naturally turn into the caregiver role, almost all of the time when their husbands decline or have a major incident. Now, be careful, because there's 2 things. Number 1, part of patriarchy, to enslave and oppress women, to be subservient and just serve men. That's part of that. There is a difference between being a slave to men in patriarchy, being oppressed in that way, and setting boundaries with, you're going to treat me like shit. You don't deserve my time, my energy, my attention, period, fucking end. Bye-bye. Women need to learn how to set the appropriate boundaries. And decentering men, what does that really mean? Well, if you're going to be abusive, peace out. There's no more. Cut the fucking ties. If you're going to be a narcissist, peace out. Goodbye. If you're going to objectify, goodbye. Done. It's ended. There's no, I'm going to still care for you. You don't deserve my fucking time and attention. So bye. Those are the boundaries that need to happen, that we're seeing happen in the world, which is why there's a male loneliness epidemic. No, there isn't. You don't have slaves anymore because women are waking up. The more that they wake up, it doesn't mean women are not, the matriarch that is created in women-led communities. There are communities of oneness. They look out for everyone. But you know what they also do? Fucking handle business. There is a 0 tolerance for toxic, poisonous people to abuse other people in a matriarchal society. That's nurturing. You know why it's nurturing? because it's protective of everybody there. So if you're an abuser, fuck you, you're out. You need to be dealt with appropriately. Proper fucking consequences, which is what we don't see in a patriarchal world with our government who rapes and abuses women and children. In a matriarchal society, that shit doesn't exist.
Yeah, and she does do that in the movie, and it's awesome. Basically, he's a massive, just patriarchal piece of shit to her, and she's like, all right, and she leaves him, and she walks away, and he is left like on the edge of death, and then he has to beg, you know, to so that obviously there is patriarchy and misogyny in the film, of course, but there was that moment, and that was what was really cool to see. Like that's exactly what you shared. Like that is like they will show up, a woman naturally will show up, and then the power of woman is to say, well, I'm not fucking showing up for this shit right here. I don't deserve this. See ya, goodbye. And in the movie, obviously, it's depicted that like she has all this ability to go out and forage, and you know, she's good on her own, and she's happy to share that. The man, he's not happy to share it. He's not happy to like contribute. It's the narcissism, and it's so ingrained in us.
No, go, Ellie.
No, I was gonna say, you know, this comes down to what you brought up in the beginning, Rachel, of like seeing the misogyny within women, right? Because then I talk about this a lot, because I would have never thought that I ran programs misogyny until you beautifully showed me how the programs that I run around misogyny. How can you not when you've been brought up in the patriarchy? And so when I'm with a lot of women and you start to see, well, where do they run that on themselves, right? And then you start to see how much they have learned to ingrain in and run them on themselves. Yeah. And yes, of course, they're married or dating, you know, we know the patriarchal, unconscious, misogynistic man. But then to be able to see like, oh no, you do this to yourself. Where do you silence yourself? Where do you, you know, become so powerless that you can't say anything, stand up for yourself? And what we're seeing right now is the beginning of women actually now finding their power to say, fuck no, goodbye, we're fucking done, which is now also unearthing what these unconscious men are feeling. They're losing control. They're freaking out. So they go even double time into all of their disgusting ways, right? Of the trying to, you know, slaughter and do all the disgusting things that they do to try to get women down to where they can control them. And it's like, oh my, this is it, guys. Like this is the end of your reign. And to be able to see women rising for real. I was telling you this the other week. I could cry talking about what I'm feeling in women, because this is the first time in my 38 years of living on this planet where I actually am seeing, oh, this is what women are. Because all I've ever seen is the opposite of what women are.
Yes. And the power of woman. And here's the power of woman as well. So when, you know, here are the things that we're also going to clear up in detail and make sure we have the education and also integrate so that women become what they innately are in our Power of Woman group. But here's where people get confused. Setting boundaries and saying no to abuse and narcissism and rape and violence to women, that's not hating men. Like, this is what's so stupid. It's just so, it is so ridiculous. And it is also like I see a lot of women becoming enraged at like, how fucking dare you when we stand up for the violence that literally close to 100% of violence on the entire fucking planet Earth are carried out by men. And when women are finally saying, fuck you, enough's enough, somehow that means you hate men. That's insanity. That's more misogyny. That's more trying to oppress women so that they don't speak up and stand up and say, we will not have this anymore. Because here's the power of woman. Just the other day, and I won't go into the story here, because it doesn't matter. But just the other day, there was an incident. My husband and I were at the gym, and there was an incident between two men. And one of them is a fucking disgusting weirdo, probably should not be walking free, literally. And the other one is the loveliest man. You know, my husband, I've talked to him, we're acquaintances, we've had interactions. You know, my service dog loved all over him a couple different times. My dog loves him, you know. And those two had an interaction where the one weirdo did this weird psychotic domination, like domineering bullshit, alpha male crap on this guy. And he literally like victimized this guy at the gym. And I stood up because I am a justice warrior. That is not okay for that man to be treated that way. And so in that instance, I absolutely 100% stood next to him, and I stood up for him, and I spoke out for him, not because he needed, because it's the right thing to do. And that's the power of woman. We are actually the real protectors. I don't care that he's a man who can handle himself. He was so grateful and appreciative, but I'm like, I literally couldn't physically leave the gym. I could not leave until I spoke up for and defended him, because it was the right thing to do. He did not deserve what that other lunatic fucking did to him. Didn't deserve it. It was unjust. He victimized him. And I am going to stand next to that man 100% and use my voice and use anything I can to make sure that that scenario is fucking handled and the appropriate consequences are given to the weirdo in that place. And even though, you know, it's a small example, that's not somebody who hates men. When you automatically, you know, as somebody who really hated would be like, fuck you, I don't care, you're a man. Like, no, he deserved to have people stand. That's oneness. And that's the power of woman. And it isn't the mistake of, well, it's not all men. Fuck off. It's all men until it's no men. And in that scenario, you just do what's right. How are we so low that we don't know what justice means, what it looks like, and where we need to put our energy? Like, this is what's insane, but we don't know. We don't know, or our world wouldn't look like this. We don't know, or there wouldn't be this much oppression. We don't know, or we wouldn't be slaves in a patriarchal, sadistic, psychopathic world. Right? So we need to learn and become, and that's what we're doing in these groups and at Masters of Self University.
And you know something, Rachel, this is something that I learned from you was we've always been told that the protectors are men, right? We've always been told that, right? And then you soon start to realize and see, like, no, the actual, because the example you give is, have you ever seen a mother protecting her baby?
Yes.
Right? And I saw this meme the other day of every time unconscious men hear powerful women speak, their rebuttal is always, well, who's going to protect you then? Right? And in this meme is, well, if you guys are all gone, protect me from what? And it's
protect from who?
Exactly. Protect from who? Because they don't understand. No, you're the ones that are unsafe. You're the ones that are raping. You're the ones that are violent. You're the ones that are causing every animal, child, and woman to constantly look around and scan their environments every second.
Yeah.
Like Danny was telling me the other day, he's watching all these videos of women walking in a parking lot. You're telling me about getting gas at a gas station and women getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
Like, this is the reality for women and children.
Yeah.
And it's caused by men.
Yes. Because that's what patriarchy turns men into, boys at a very young age. And Danny, please, I'll let, of course, like, please speak, but I just want to say this one more thing, is that's the part that seems to go whoop right over everybody's head, is that it's the system that creates that from very young ages, little boys into men. It's the system that makes men that way. And so it's time we have to heal. We have to address this at every level, and we have to destroy the fucking system, don't we? We have to create a new system, and that's only going to be created by the power of women.
Yeah, I've had like firsthand interactions where I've been calling this out with, again, people outside of MSU, and I had a response one time from a woman, well, I just like to stay away from, any men hate. And I'm like, I don't hate men. I'm saying that they're responsible for causing harm, and that, and then I started to lay out, like, just look at the prison rates. It's like over 95% incarcerations for any sort of violence, it's all men. It's like, I don't
It's a
hate
fact.
I don't hate men. If I did, I'd probably heal that part of me, right? But it's us that are causing the problem. Last night, Ellie and I were walking to our car, and in maybe an area of a city that I don't normally hang out with, and a man walked past us, and I could feel like his energy. And immediately I'm like, oh yeah, there's fear right there. I do not feel safe. I'm like, this is why I don't like being in cities. I like to, stay away in more suburb place. But I can feel the energy isn't safe. Now, 100 times, 99 times out of 100, same position. If it was a woman walking past, I wouldn't even think about it. I wouldn't even think about being unsafe. And part of that reason is like I can feel their energy, and it's non-threatening. I'm not threatened by it. And then, you bring this up and you start saying it to people, and because of all of the misogyny, it's, oh, well, you hate men. I'm like, no, I just don't want to live in a world where, there's a lot of violence and harm,
Right.
or any violence or harm.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so psychotic, because this is patriarchy. Patriarchy hates women.
Yeah.
That's the truth. The hatred is towards women. That's the misogyny. And so if you say anything against, because we have to center men, if you say anything against what's really happening, it's automatically, you hate. No, actually, it's patriarchy that brainwashes everybody to hate women. That's why we treat them so fucking terribly in every scenario that exists in life. And then when we stand up to that and say, here's the truth. Oh my God, you're speaking the truth. That means you hate. This is how, no, this actually means you're stupid. There's no critical thinking skills. You're literally brainwashed to the point where you have no critical thinking skills, because you can't see the difference between addressing an issue, the truth of an issue, and then let's solve it. Let's get to the core problem of what's creating this horrific, abhorrent truth and change it, because we can change it. We just all need to heal and elevate our level of consciousness, but we can't do that if we don't function in the sacred mirror that's being held up to us to face the actual truth. And that means going within and seeing how all these things in the world, how do they affect us, but how do they program us? And then we have to change that. We have to change that. There's the hard work, but it's also like, it's simple. Like when you're led by the way of wisdom, and you have people that know how to do this, have the wisdom to do it, and can teach you how to do it, it's simple. So what's the problem here? There isn't a hatred. Like matriarch does not mean inequality or hatred. Matriarch is oneness. And it's very challenging for people to even conceptualize, because they're so brainwashed by a system of hatred, which is patriarchy. Patriarchy is nothing but hatred. It's violence, it's hatred, it's dehumanization on every level. It dehumanizes men, for fuck's sake. Not just women. But we can't even get to that if you can't take care of, the crisis. Like if your house caught on fire and your entire kitchen is ablaze, and you're like, oh, you know how we fix it? Well, we're going to have to pick some new paint colors. Maybe we can use this as a way to remodel our kitchen. There's that avoidance, toxic positivity nonsense that people do. How about put the fucking fire out so the rest of the goddamn house doesn't burn down? That would be number one priority. And that's what we are so dumbed down. We cannot critically think and just say, oh, the whole kitchen's on fire. Okay, 911. Let's put the fire. Let's make sure the animals and all humans are out so nobody burns alive and gets hurt. Like, there are priorities here. So the crisis, get the fucking fire put out, people. So right now, ablaze, things are ablaze. We need to put out the fire. And that means the violence. And where's the violence? Well, when anywhere from 92 to 99%, that's statistically reported globally, comes from men. There's your fucking fire. We have to put the fire out first. And then we can talk about, okay, no more fire. Great. Let's do a remodel of the fucking kitchen. Like, that's where we're at. And it's not hard to comprehend when there's a fire, burning your kitchen down, don't let it burn the rest of the house down. We can put it out and deal with what the hell caused the fire. Do we need new electrical? Do we need what caused the fire? Let's now deal with what we need to deal with. And then we can rebuild and remodel the goddamn kitchen, and we can put an extension on it and make it bigger and more beautiful, actually. Like that's the potentiality that we have here. But if we don't put the fire out, you're trying to pick paint colors for a remodel when the house is on fucking fire right now. So we need to stop being stupid, deal with the fire, put it out, and then take step by step. We have to prioritize here.
So let's talk about that step by step and what this actually looks like for women who want to join this group. And it's going to be on Thursdays. Is that correct?
Yeah. 1 p.m. PST. Yeah.
Thursdays, 1 p.m. PST. And we will add days and times as women sign up.
And it's going to be every week, correct?
Every week.
Every week, 60 minutes. You get to, I think it's really important for, I mean, obviously we want as many women in this group as possible. I had massive FOMO as soon as you started talking about it. I obviously know I'm a man, so I can't go. But it's so important for us as men who are doing this work and we're healing. Like, we need the true leaders of the world to heal. We need not just one leader. We need so many.
Yes.
As we kind of highlighted in this podcast, and I'm going to bring it back to the movie last night because it was really ringing true. Like, when we as men live in these like independent, egoic, patriarchal worlds, all we do is we hurt ourselves. And
yes.
in the movie, it was very apparent that the matriarch that she was offering, like, everybody wins. We get to win. We as men, as soon as we get out of this egoic idea and we start to honor the true leaders that are there, like, we need to be learning from you on how to actually honestly just be a human being, be a good human. It's you can see it in the movie. It's that simple. We need to be learning from you. And that means that we need a space for all the women to come that is safe, where they can actually learn how to heal themselves, where they can, dissolve the misogyny that we've all been brainwashed, to believe. And I'm so grateful and happy that there is a place for women to just come and be in an environment like this and not be led by stupid men that don't have a clue what we're talking about, so that they can actually find their own power of woman.
Yeah. And the amazing thing is, talk about priorities, putting out the fire. The most important thing is we're going to heal trauma from all the levels of patriarchy, including there are so many women right now that are being re-traumatized because of the truth about our world, and the Epstein files are activating and re-traumatizing in a lot of ways, because the truth about what our world is and who runs it, that we're in this cult, this sex trafficking, like, cannibalistic cult, and there are no ends to how gruesome and evil it is. So that alone is creating a lot of women who have been through tremendous trauma and oppression at the hands of patriarchy, at the hands of men, at the hands of any type of abuser. So we want to heal that trauma. That's number one. That is first and foremost. Learning how to heal that trauma and being guided through the alchemical process to help whatever needs to come up to the surface to be healed, that you're ready to heal. We're going to do that. That is the number one priority of this group. You will be supported by professionals who know how to move through trauma at the deepest energetic levels, and also that can offer you the vibrational frequency of not just the wave presence, but every way of oneness, meaning you do not have to apologize for crying. You don't have to apologize for using your voice. You don't have to be afraid to be, rageful and have this rage flowing through you for what, is happening in our world, and for being so suppressed in so many ways and not feeling like you can change this right now. Like, bring your rage, bring your fury, because you can bring that here in a safe space, because we know how to guide you through it. So that is the priority. That's number one. I want women to be able to go within and learn how to elevate for real, to activate their internal divine feminine power, and to heal the trauma of years and decades of what patriarchy has done to them. And that's the main reason for this group right now. Women need a place to heal. And also, we're going to activate the way of equality, in the sense of, right now, it is so damn dirt cheap, it's almost free. And that's for a reason, because we want you to have a place to come and heal. We still have expenses, so we got to charge something, because we have to pay our bills. But right now, get in while it's this insanely cheap. And it's going to remain cheap, by the way, but we wouldn't be able to function as a business if we kept it this cheap forever. But I've done that for a reason. I've done that for a reason, because the pink tax, women don't get paid the same for the same amount of work still. Everything for women is like 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 times more goddamn expensive just to exist in the world. And yet you get paid less or nothing. The labor, free women's labor, that's not equality. So guess what? You are entering into this for almost free. It is so dirt cheap, it is almost free. And that is done to create the way of equality, so that you have a place to come where you can heal for real. And it isn't just some stupid women's group that is like telling you to dance naked under the moon, and that's somehow going to heal how many times you've been raped. That's like, we have to wake up out of that crap and actually activate our true power within. That's part of what the power of woman is.
Beautiful. So for everybody at home, if you're like, all right, I'm ready to join, mastersofselfuniversity.com, you can look for it under the Work With Us button. And every Thursday, we'll see you guys there. Till next time. Bye, everybody.